It's Mark Penn with us right now, the former Clinton advisor and pollster, now the Stagwell CEO. Mark, what do you make of some of those polls and the reaction they get from the White House that they haven't done as effective a job selling the good they're doing with the economy? That's how they frame it.
Well, look, I think the polls that we just saw are accurate. The president is underwater. A lot of people don't want to see, including Democrats, to see him run again. This speech is his best opportunity, with probably 45 million people who may watch, to begin to push back on those elements to show that he's vibrant enough to run. And as we did, as you may remember, in the '96 State of the Union, everybody thought the economy was bad, and we really actively disputed that. And he's got to take the lower inflation numbers, the job ratings, the Fed tapering off somewhat, the lowest unemployment, and put that together in a case that things aren't as bad as people think they are. Because the two blockers to him winning re-election are, first, they think he's too old and too weak as a leader, and second, the economy is really perceived by 63% or more of this country as in the dumps.
You know, a lot has been said about who is leaking out information hostile to the president and that he maybe shouldn't consider a run. But I'm hearing a lot of it happening within the Democratic Party. Mark, I had a chance to speak to Jim Clyburn, the South Carolina congressman, so influential in getting Joe Biden elected president in the first place. Remember the role he played in South Carolina. Now the greater role South Carolina has as the kickoff primary for Democrats. Anyway, we talked about someone else in the administration, though, when it came to who has popular support within the party. I want you to react to this. Do you think Kamala Harris should still be his running mate?
Well, I'm going to leave that up to him. Contrary to what people say, I never told him anything about who ought to be on his ticket. I read this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I believe very strongly that candidates for president or in governor, name it, they should pick the people they are comfortable with.
You know, that's hardly a ringing endorsement for Kamala Harris. And we heard the same out of Elizabeth Warren. We kind of heard the same out of, and you know her well, Hillary Clinton. What's going on here?
Well, the vice president's polling is really below President Biden's. She really hasn't caught on. She's really not seen as effective. And people worry that if he does go for a second term, is she ready to be president? That question would be a big question. Look, I think there are two things going on. One, as I just said, is she ready? And two, a lot of Democrats are kind of jockeying here. And they know if Biden in the end doesn't run or gets defeated in an early primary, that that Harris is then the front runner. So they're also jockeying for position themselves, because this is really a wide open Democratic Party when it comes to who they think should be the next nominee. Biden has some of the lowest numbers I've ever seen for a sitting president who's liked, but they just think he may be too old for another term.
You know, but on the VP thing, Mark, you know, there used to be a time where presidents routinely switched their running mate. I mean, FDR did it a number of times. I ended up with Harry Truman, who got the job when FDR sadly died. So it's been a while since we've seen a switch, but it used to be quite common. Could you see this president making such a switch?
Well, I think you're right. It used to be, well, you were lucky if you got to be a second-term vice president.
That's right.
Look, the president had a great opportunity here to have appointed Harris to the Supreme Court and picked a new vice president, but he didn't take that, as an option. I think he's hard-pressed, given the historic nature of the appointment, to switch it out. I think if I were Harris and Harris's folks, I'd be working hard to pick some issues that you can run with and show that you are competent and ready to stand up, because she is the #2 person in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, heartbeat away, as they say. Mark Penn, thank you, my friend. Always good seeing you.